Alright guys, it is your buddy Kintips here. So I have to make this video because everybody is on the hype train for PS5. I have no idea why you guys are supporting PS5. Like I like both systems. I bought both systems when I have a PS4, I have an Xbox One, and this generation seems like Sony is just like so smug and they'll price it the same thing as the Xbox because they know they can buy it and people will fall for it. So, if we want to see a price drop, don't buy it right off the bat, guys. Like, seriously? So, the other thing is we need to talk about the specs, right? So here, I brought this up. I want to show you guys the specs, okay? So, there is, the PS5 digital edition. We know it's $400. We know the one with the disc drive is $500. We have the Xbox Series X at $499, the Xbox Series S at $299. But let's look at the specs, okay? If you look at the specs, the processors are all pretty much the same, okay? So, clock speed here and there, but it's technically the same. Now, if you look at here and here, the Series X and then the PlayStation. Do you see this? Okay, so basically 36 compute units versus 52. The video card in the Xbox Series X is much stronger, okay? And the RAM is the same, okay? Now, next thing, internal storage. Sony's only giving you 825 gigs, okay? Microsoft is giving you 1 terabyte. Okay, so look at that, and they're charging you the same price, guys. Like, seriously, you guys gotta think about this, okay? So, they're charging you the same price, and everything else is pretty much the same, but they're charging you the same price for a system that is technically spec-wise not that expensive for them to produce. Okay, so you have to wonder, guys. The other thing is, the Sony in the past has issues with censorship and things like that. So, Xbox, Microsoft never did. They never. You guys can Google this. The Xbox version of Devil May Cry 5 was never censored. Okay, so but the PlayStation version was. Okay, so Google this and maybe think about it. I know there's fanboys on both sides, but I'm telling you, like, objectively, it's one of those things. I think I'm gonna wait for sure this generation. There's nothing really I want to play, and I'm saying, like, if I do buy one, you know, I think Microsoft needs to get their act together and get some more like JRPGs and things like that. Final Fantasy, Square Enix is good. That exclusive for Final Fantasy, it seems like a timed exclusive to me. So because Final Fantasy 15 was on the Xbox, so um, Microsoft needs to spend some of that money they have. So, like I said, spec wise, Sony, if you guys can wait, obviously they'll drop the price. Okay, so because no one's buying it, right? So just like what we saw in back in the day when Xbox One came out. So they'll drop the price when nobody buys it. So if nobody buys either system, we'll see price drops coming down pretty quick. So, anyways, that's my rant, guys. But like I said, Sony does have some few quirks like their censorship policies and all this other stuff going on. It's just, and like I said, they're just pricing their system higher, even though the specs are cheaper for them to produce. So it's one of those things because they all use the same chips pretty much, right? So it's equally almost the same, and for them to be pricing it at the same thing, they're probably getting the same deal as Microsoft gets for buying all these chips. So, yeah, they're just making, and they're charging you $100 for a disk drive. So, yeah, think about it. All right, guys, if you have any questions, comments, post below, subscribe to the channel.